There is something that I should warn my subscribers about. Well, more like inform than warn when you get down to it. You see, I'm about to publish a lot of videos. Like, a lot. Probably over 20 of them. And in a way, these videos aren't ready. And I'll be explaining why I think they're not ready in this video, but I will start with the reason why I'm going to start publishing them anyway, even though I think it's too soon, and that is because I think I'm going to need them on my channel if I want to make it to the Community Council. Yes, I am going to apply. I mean, I'm a casual who's played since the summer of 2005. I've delved into raiding a few times. I'm a healer. I'm massively into professions. Well, engineering at least, but I keep my eye on reagents that go into other professions as well. And I think that's a set of perspectives that should be represented on the Community Council. Plus, I badmouthed Alex Afrasiabi in the Does Blizzard Really Hate Paladin series. That'll earn me points right there. It sure didn't back in 2008, but 13 years later, it sure will now. So, I'm going to apply to join the Community Council. Will the Community Council actually do any good, though? I guess it depends on what Blizzard's true goals are with the Community Council project, not to mention whether they have the stick-to-itiveness needed to actually stay with those goals, even if their goals are good. If they actually want to break through the echo chamber that their workplace has turned into, if they're finally prepared to make it a permanent habit to pivot based on feedback from the community, and if this really is going to lead to more and better communication from and with the developers, then the Community Council will be a terrific improvement, and I'll be more than happy to help them with it. But if the Community Council is really just meant to make players think they're being listened to, or if it's intended to be a way for the developers to tell us, no, we are not going to do what you want, you're going to do what we want, or if it's just another way to try to get someone to tell the developers they're awesome and right about everything, no matter how many problems the game actually has, then the council is doomed to miserable failure and will only reinforce the jaded cynicism that all too many players are talking about. Heck, even if Blizzard genuinely wants to pivot based on feedback, if they have the council get told what needs to happen, but then they don't actually do it, that'll be a huge problem. Or if they suddenly decide to stop pivoting based on player feedback due to budgetary constraints or the business people up top telling them to publish something that isn't ready, then it's going to be just as bad as it would be if Blizzard started with bad intentions. It really will be. And again, it'll reinforce the jaded cynicism that their behaviors up until now have built up for themselves. Though considering that it is do or die time for World of Warcraft, I figure if there is ever going to be a time for the developers to learn that they need to make it a permanent habit to listen to players and pivot based on what their players tell them, that time is now. So there really is a chance that the Community Council is Blizzard finally rounding a corner. And since they know some content creators are going to be applying, one of the fields in the application to be part of the Community Council is some videos from your YouTube channel. And the project I'm working on now, well, it's ambitious, and honestly, after working a lot over the past several months on this project, I think I can say I bit off considerably more than I could chew. The project that I have been working on is called Project Decade, and it started out as a way for me to try to get more publicity for the whole semi-borrowed power upgrade system that I've gotten good feedback about. I thought to myself, you know what? My previous videos weren't really showing players what the upgrade power system could do for them, so they weren't getting excited. I'll do one video for each spec with examples, and that will show everyone what my concept can do for them. That was back in July. My pace of making these videos is slow, shall we say? I've been going in alphabetical order, and as of the time I'm typing out this script, I'm up to Holy Priest, so that means I'm a little over halfway through, and as I type this, it's early November. So it'll probably be 2022 by the time I get through all of them. Of course, I play one spec for one or two purposes, so I don't know what's going to get all players of all specs excited. I say as much in my videos and ask for feedback from the viewers, repeatedly, and tell them I plan to iterate, which is going to take even more time once I finally get all 36 videos published. You can see this whole project has just massively snowballed. Now, I should probably say why I called it Project Decade. When I saw that morale was so low, both among the community and among the developers, I figured these upgrade proposals could be a kind of a community rallying point, a place where we could show the devs what can get players excited to get back into WoW. And I could lead the developers by example, by actually making a habit to pivot with my upgrade designs based on feedback, i.e., do the thing that the devs need to do. Habitually, constantly, without ever stopping. Ever. And the idea was to get the devs to do things that would make WoW last another decade, hence the snappy name, Project Decade. And I should say that each video's format is, well, it's repetitive, but since each video has more or less the same purpose, each for a different spec, it kind of makes sense that it would be repetitive. And some of the shared segments include the opening titles, where I see how inspiring the Call to Arms music from Wrath of the Lich King can be. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Then, after the opening titles, there is the main segment, which is unique for each video rather than shared between the videos. In the main segment, I show the main concepts that I came up with for the spec and go in depth about what the heck I was thinking when I came up with them. After that is another shared segment, the middle spiel. Seriously, that's what I call the video file, midspielvid.mp4. And in the middle spiel, I explain that I came up with these ideas by checking to see which abilities happen to exist in players' kits that weren't already being replaced by talents, and then I took those and just made upgrades for them willy-nilly. And I should have been thinking all along about what goals a player would have in mind when they go into the upgrades looking for stuff they can use, and how I should have designed the upgrades with player goals in mind. Then I have a second segment that is again unique, where I evaluate how I did on the given spec's first iteration with goal-oriented design in mind. Sometimes I do decently well, and sometimes I find I've done goofed. Of course, I often admit at this point that I might not actually even have the right design goals in mind, and just about constantly ask for feedback and ask whether my design goals are the right design goals to have. Finally, I have another shared segment, an ending where I say that even if Blizzard won't take any of my, or should I say our, ideas, Blizzard is still going to get a feel for what gets players excited to get back into WoW, and if, like I do in my Project Decade videos, the developers get into the habit of telling us what the thinking is when they do things, that alone would be a huge step forward. And then I tack on a part at the very end where I ask for volunteers to help me curate and compile feedback since, well, let's face it, 36 specs is a lot to manage and I can't do it all on my own. Anyhow, you'll be able to see these for yourself once I get them uploaded. I should say that I finished the Death Knight videos back in September, so even if I upload multiple videos per day for several days straight, that is not actually the pace at which I'm creating the content. It's days to put together a video like this. Honestly, I'd wanted to get all 36 of them done and then release them all at once. But I figure if I release the ones I've spent the last 2 months assembling now, apply for the Community Council, and then put out the rest of the Iteration 1 videos as I create them, then I'll be sending Blizzard the message that I'm dedicated to helping WoW succeed, which is what they're looking for in a Community Council member. At least, I hope it is. So, change of plans. I'm releasing these videos early, and I figured I should tell you about this change of plans beforehand so you'll have an idea what's going on. At this point, I'm thinking I'm going to hold off on asking for feedback on the forums until I get all 36 of the videos out there, but I will keep an eye on feedback from my viewers and subscribers. Depending on what you guys tell me, I might have some Iteration 2s ready to fire by the time I get around to asking for feedback on the forums. We shall see. And don't worry, you will know what I mean by Iteration 2s once you have seen the Project Decade videos.